We will speak on Srimad Bhagavatam chapters 12 to 15, 11 to 15, I guess. All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Aradhya Bhagavan Brajesh Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajabadhu Vargena Vakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumartho Maha Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatra Dharana Para Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today we will start from chapter 11, where we talk about the killing of Aghasura. Before that, we would like to give the names of the participants for the quiz yesterday. On YouTube, it's Janeshwar Gauranga Prabhu, Barsana Chitra Mataji, Rekha Mataji, Geeta Varadrajan Mataji, Vrindavani Mataji, Shweta Manjiri Mataji, Vijeta Arora Mataji, Swati Mataji, Hari Krishna Madali Prabhu, Sweta Suryanarayan Mataji, and on Facebook, Shweta Mataji, Ranjani Gopika Mataji, and Meena Mataji. Thank you very much for participating in the quiz yesterday. So we start from chapter 12, the killing of the demon Aghasura. This chapter tells about who is Aghasura. One time, Kṛṣṇa, he wanted to enjoy his picnic within the forest. And so he went out really early into the forest along with all the other cowherd boys. And each cowherd boy had their respective calf. So he went out with all of them. So text 5 says, when they went there, all the cowherd boys used to steal one another's lunch bags. And when a boy would come to understand that his bag has been taken away, the other boys would throw it farther away to more distant place. And those who were standing there, they would throw it still further and further. And this boy would be the proprietor of this bag. He would become disappointed that why are the other boys doing this with me? They would laugh. And the other boys would laugh. The proprietor would cry. And then the bag would be returned in the end. Sometimes they would go to a far distant place to see the beauty of the forest. And all the other boys would accompany him, each one saying, I will be first to run to Kṛṣṇa. I will touch Kṛṣṇa first. And in this way they enjoyed their life by repeatedly touching Kṛṣṇa. This is spiritual competition in the spiritual world. They are saying, who will touch Kṛṣṇa first? They are running. But they are running fast, just to inspire the other person to run faster than them. They are running fast not so that they come first. They are running fast, but their desire is we come last. This is spiritual competition. When we see we should do our best devotional service, but not to be glorified, not with a purpose and an intent to be glorified as someone great, but with the exclusive purpose that others should be glorified, others should go before me. If I run really fast and if I come last, that means all of us have together gone to Kṛṣṇa together so fast. If we are doing book distribution, we should try to distribute as many books as possible, but our desire should be, I come last. And seeing my distribution of the books, other devotees be inspired and they do more than I do. That is what pleases Kṛṣṇa. That is real Sankirtan. That mood of Sankirtan, this mood is the mood of the gopis. This mood is the mood of the gopas as well. Text 7 to 11 started saying all these boys, they would be differently engaged. Some boys, they would blow their flutes. Some would blow their bugles and their horns. Some imitated the buzzing of the bumblebees. And the others imitated the voices of the cuckoo. Coo! And then some boys, they imitated flying birds by running after the birds, the shadow on the ground. And some would imitate the beautiful movements of the swans and the ducks. Others imitated the peacocks. Some of these boys, they started attracting the young monkeys. And then they would imitate the monkeys making faces about them. Others jumped from one branch to another, shaking the branch like a monkey. And the others, they went to the waterfalls. They would cross the river. And then they would jump with the frogs. And when they saw their own reflections in the water, they would laugh. And then they'll start making sounds of their echoes. And all the cowherd boys in this way, they would play with Kṛṣṇa. They would be so happy playing with Kṛṣṇa. And it is said, Shukadev Goswami says, the cowherd boys, they have accumulated the results of pious activities for many, many lives. And therefore, they are able to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can one explain the great fortune of all of these? One time, when they were enjoying their picnic, Aghasura, the younger brother of Putana and Bakasura. That's Aghasur. He appeared there. He came there. He wanted to kill Kṛṣṇa and his companions. He wanted to kill them. Now, someone may ask, how can Kṛṣṇa's pastimes be interrupted by a demon? So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he answers saying that although the transcendental pleasure that is enjoyed by Kṛṣṇa and the cowherd boys, it cannot be stopped unless they want to stop the pleasure. And so Yogamaya decided this is the time for them to have lunch. So as they broke for lunch, that's when Aghasura came. And so in this way, Kṛṣṇa would kill a demon, they would have lunch, and then after killing the demon, they would start playing again. And all of these things started happening. But Aghasura, when he came, he had this thought in his mind that Kṛṣṇa has killed my brother Bakasura, my sister Putana. So to take revenge, to please them both, I will kill Kṛṣṇa and all the cowherd boys. So much so, once they are killed, even all Vrajavasis will die automatically in separation from Kṛṣṇa, in separation from the cowherd boys. So then he was sent by Kamsa, actually. He was in the form of a python, Aghasura. He expanded himself to a length of 8 miles, and he had a huge height of a mountain. His mouth seemed that it was extended from the surface to the heavenly planets. The lower lip to upper lip was extended so wide. And Aghasura just laid on the road. Kṛṣṇa's friends, when they saw the cowherd boys, they saw Aghasura. They thought that, wow, they couldn't understand this is demon. They could see only a feature of it. And they saw this is a beautiful spot in Vrindavan. Look at all the spots that it has. This is wonderful in Vrindavan. Let's play here. And then they saw, oh, there's a cave. Look, there's the cave. This was the mouth of Aghasura. Now, Kṛṣṇa knew everything, that this is Aghasura. And he wanted to warn and forbid his friends from going in there. But before he could do so, the cowherd boys entered into the mouth of Aghasura, thinking that this is nothing but a cave. Kṛṣṇa, he was waiting outside. And Aghasura, he was waiting for Kṛṣṇa. He said, he felt, as soon as Kṛṣṇa enters, I'll close my mouth. And then everyone will die. So, meantime, Kṛṣṇa was thinking, how can I save the boys? And then kill Aghasura. So Kṛṣṇa said, there is one way. Let me enter Aghasura's mouth. He entered into Aghasura's mouth. And seeing that, Aghasura closed his mouth. And then Kṛṣṇa started expanding his body inside the mouth. He expanded big, and he expanded to such an extent that Aghasura was choked and suffocated, and he died. And then Kṛṣṇa, he cast his nectarian glance on his friends and brought them back to life. And with pleasure, they all came out unhurt. And then Kṛṣṇa encouraged all the demigods, all the devatas. They expressed their pleasure because they were also tormented by this Aghasura, this python. Now, when the demigods came, they saw that Aghasura's soul came out like a light with an effulgence, stayed there in the air for some time, and then merged into Kṛṣṇa, his effulgence and his body. This is called Sayujya Mukti. But later, it is explained that actually Aghasura later got Sarupya Mukti. It is said that this effulgence, it remained outside Aghasura's body, but did not mix with the Brahmajyoti. It was not visible to the material eyes, but Krishna wanted to prove that everyone is an individual soul. And so he proved that he not only gives Sayujya Mukti, he gives Sarupya Mukti. Even Dantavakra, Prabhupada says, got Sarupya Mukti. But those who are on the level of transcendental platform, out of love and affection, those who serve, they get a liberation called Vimukti, which is different than the 5 kinds of mukti, the Sarupya, Samipya, Salokya, Sarishti, Sayujya. These are 5 kinds of muktis. But those who are transcendental with love and affection, they get a special liberation, which is called Vimukti. Anyway, the serpent, it entered the body of Krishna personally, mixed with the Brahman effulgence, which is Sayujya Mukti. But in the later verses, text 38 says, Shukadeva Goswami says that Aghasura got Sarupya Mukti, which is the same body as Vishnu. That is the mukti that he got. So one may say, well, how is it that he got Sayujya first and then Sarupya? It's something similar to Jai and Vijay. Just like Jai and Vijay, after 3 births, they again got the Sarupya Mukti and the association of the Lord. Aghasura also received a similar liberation. Sayujya and then Sarupya. So that's what it says, text 33 and 34, that from the gigantic python, a glaring effulgence came out, illuminating all directions, and then entered into Krishna's body. And then all the Gandharvas, they started to dance. They started to play. All the dancing girls, the Apsaras, started to dance. The drummers began to beat their kettle drums. And the Brahmanas, they started chanting Vedic hymns, just on celebrating the killing of Aghasura. Lord Brahma was also there. He saw this wonderful ceremony of celebration that's going on. And he started saying, Jai, Jai. He came out to see the function. He was completely astonished on how Krishna can do this. On Krishna's power, he was astonished. And just to check Krishna's power, next chapter is the Brahma Vimohan Leela. He saw Krishna's power with Aghasura, but he still wanted to further test. When this pastime of Aghasura was there, Krishna was only 5 years old. And then 1 year later, when he was 6-year-old, he came into the Poganda age. Shukadeva Goswami said, all of these cowherd boys, they went back to Vrindavan and they told everyone that, you know what, just now Krishna killed Aghasura, even though it was 1 year later. But then cowherd boys said, Krishna killed Aghasura just now. So Maharaj Parikshit stopped Shukadeva Goswami. Whoa. Hold on, you just said after 1 year, cowherd boys said that Krishna is killing Aghasura just now? How is that possible? And so Shukadeva Goswami said, yes, I will tell you why this is possible. And so with this question, the 12th chapter ends. But let's understand who is Aghasura. According to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Aghasura is the mentality of cruelty to others, the mentality of causing trouble to others out of envy. Many devotees, sometimes we are envious, we try to cause trouble. This is an offense towards the holy name. Even Aghasura is the mentality of Even though we are having Krishna consciousness, we don't want to share our Krishna consciousness with others. That is also Aghasura mentality. Agha was actually the son of Shankhasura. And this Agha was very, very proud of his body. And one time he saw Ashtavakra Muni. Ashtavakra Muni was bent in 8 places, Ashtavakra. And he was walking in a way that made Agha laugh and say, "What an ugly person." And so Ashtavakra Muni, he cursed him, "You become a snake, just like ugliest snake." And so Agha, he begged forgiveness. "Please forgive me. I'm sorry I said this." So then Ashtavakra Muni said, "Well, I cannot take back my curse, but you'll be delivered by Kṛṣṇa in the forest of Vrindavan." So in this way, this is what Aghasura was. It is said, this whole chapter ends with a text 44, very, very beautiful. Sutta Goswami, now it's going back to Sutta Goswami of the sages of Naimisharanya, who is narrating about Shukadev Goswami. So Sutta Goswami is saying, "O Shaunaka, greatest of saints and devotees, when Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Shukadev Goswami in this way, Shukadev Goswami, immediately remembering subject matters about Krishna within the core of his heart, externally he lost contact with the action of his senses." When Shukadev Goswami, when Maharaj Parikshit asked Shukadev Goswami about Krishna more and more, he became stunned and silent. Thereafter, with great difficulty, he revived his external sensory perception and began to speak to Maharaj Parikshit about Krishna Katha. So this is the chapter 12. We come to chapter 13, the stealing of boys and calves by Brahma. So although this incident concerning Aghasura was performed 1 year before, but when cowherd boys were 5 years old, but when they were 6 years old, they said it happened just today. And so when Maharaj Parikshit asked this question, Shukadev Goswami said, this is what happened. After killing Aghasura, Kṛṣṇa, along with his associates and his cowherd boys, he went for a picnic with the forest. After killing Aghasura, they again continued their picnic. So the calves, they were allured by the green grasses and they left. They started leaving. They started grazing, and they went somewhere. No one knew where there they went. Suddenly the cowherd boy said, "Where are the calves? Where are our calves?" And Kṛṣṇa said, Kṛṣṇa was eating along with everyone. Kṛṣṇa said, wait, at Bhojan Sthali. So wait, I'll get the calves. You don't stop eating. Kṛṣṇa wants to serve his devotees. So Kṛṣṇa got up, "You take your tiffin, don't get agitated, I'll bring the calves." So Kṛṣṇa went to look for the calves, and Brahma was watching this. He was especially bewildered by something very, very great, something very astonishing that happened. Madhu Mangala, he had brought buttermilk for Kṛṣṇa. This is not explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, but it is explained in another place. That Madhu Mangala, he came with buttermilk for Kṛṣṇa. And then he saw, but all the other devotees, they have brought, all the other cowherd friends, they have brought sweets and nice preparations. And I just have buttermilk. And he hid the buttermilk behind, thinking, I will not serve this to Kṛṣṇa. So then Kṛṣṇa understood Madhumangal's mentality. But Kṛṣṇa is not hungry for our preparations. He's hungry for our love. So he was hungry for Madhumangal's love, and he asked, "Madhumangal, what do you have in your back?" And so Madhumangal took the other hand and said, "No, I don't have anything." "No, show me the other hand." "Oh, look, I don't have anything." He said, "Show me both the hands." So he drank the buttermilk in his mouth. He said like this, "I don't have anything." And Kṛṣṇa He went and he poofed out Madhumangal's cheeks, and out came the water, the buttermilk that was coming out on the face of Krishna. And this was seen by Lord Brahma, that Krishna, he's drinking what is coming out of Madhumangal's mouth. And he said, I just saw this boy killing Aghasura, and everyone was glorifying. Well, why is he acting like that, like this? Is this really true? And he felt, I want to be able to test this. So then, text 15 says, Ambho, um, Ambhojanmajanistaragato Mayar Bhakasye Drashtum manju mahittvamanyadapitad vatsanito vatsapan nitvanyatra kurudvaha taradhadatke avashito yahpura Drishtva Aghasura mokshanam prabhavata prapta param vismayam. O Maharaj Parikshit, Brahma, who resides in the higher planetary system in the sky, had observed the activities of the most powerful king in killing and delivering Aghasura. And he was astonished. Now, that same Brahma, he wanted to show some of his own power and see the power of Krishna, who was engaged in his childhood pastimes, playing as if with ordinary cowherd boys. Therefore, in Krishna's absence, Brahma took all the boys and calves to another place. Thus he became entangled, for in the very future he would see how powerful Krishna was. So this verse shows that what was the reason that Brahma stole all the cows? So this is Krishna's Maya, and it is said Brahma was born materially. He was born of the lotus, Ambhojanma Jani. He was born of Ambhoja, a lotus flower. So he was still born through the material energy, and he was subjected to the four material deficiencies: Brahma, Pramad, Vipralipsa, and Karana Patava, which is the tendency to commit mistakes, the tendency to be illusioned, the tendency to cheat, and imperfect senses. And that's why Brahma became illusioned, Brahma became entangled. But the cowherd boys that Brahma took, they were not actually Brahma. Just like when Ravan wanted to take away Sita, it was impossible. What Ravan took was Maya Sita. Similarly, what Brahma took were Maya Bhaka, Mayar Bhaka. This is what is said here, Mayar Bhaka. So he took actually fake boys that were manifested by Krishna's Maya. But he could not show to his associates. So anyway, this is called Brahma Vimohan Leela. So then, when Krishna was unable to find the calves and the boys, where are all the calves? Where are the boys? He came back. He could understand this was a trick performed by Brahma. Then Krishna, the cause of all causes, he wanted to please Brahma. He wanted to teach him a lesson, please him as well, and please his associates and their mothers. So he expanded himself into calves and boys, just like they were before. And then he revealed another pastime in this way. The special feature of this pastime is when he expanded himself as calves and the boys, the mothers and the cows were more attracted to Krishna, more attracted to their children than they were attracted before, because all of them were Krishna. The cows, they would come running when they saw their calves. The cows were grazing on top of the Govardhan hill. They started running, it's described as if they had one leg. All four legs were jumping together. And they were coming towards their calves because they were actually attracted to Krishna in the form of their calves. Every living being, we have a special relationship with Krishna. And that relationship of the soul to soul relationship is much, much more powerful than any of our bodily relationship that we can have. So that is what attracted all of them. This is the special feature of this particular pastimes. And they were feeling, why am I feeling so much attracted? One day, 5 or 6 nights before the completion of 1 year, Krishna was tending the calves and he entered into the forest along with Balaram. And there, when Balaram saw that the cows, they are running to come to the calves like never before, he asked, Krishna, what is this phenomena? And as they are running, milk is oozing out of their udders. What's going on? I've never seen this. There's something special going on. What is this wonderful phenomena? The affection of all the inhabitants of Vraja, including me, towards these boys and calves is increasing as never before, just like our affection for Lord Krishna. What is this mystic power? And then Balaram immediately was able to see with the eye of transcendental knowledge that all these calves and Krishna's friends were expansions of the form of Krishna himself. And he started praying to Krishna, O Supreme Controller, text 39, these boys are not great demigods as I previously thought, nor are these calves great sages like Narada. Now I see that you alone are manifesting in all the varieties of difference. Although one, you are existing in different forms of calves and boys. Please briefly explain this to me. Having thus been requested by Lord Brahma, Krishna explained the whole situation and Balaram understood it. And then Brahma, on the other hand, he stole the calves and the cowherd boys just for one moment. But it was Brahma's moment. One moment of Brahma. By that time, 1 year had passed. So Brahma, in fact, he just took it and gave back. So it wasn't like kind of stolen. It was, he hadn't stolen it from his point of view. He just had teased Krishna. His intention was just to tease Krishna. He just took it and put it back. But by then, 1 year passed on earth. And in this 1 year, everyone was so much attracted to each other because they were all Krishna. The gopis were much more attracted to the gopas because they were all Krishna. So Purnamasi, she announced, this is such a wonderful, beautiful time of the day, time of the month. This whole year, everyone is feeling so attracted to each other. Let's get everyone married. And so all the gopis were married to the gopas. But actually, those gopas were none other than Krishna. And so the gopis actually were married to Krishna. Radharani also was married to Abhimanyu, but he was married to Krishna. That's why when people ask that how could Krishna go with other men's wives, they were actually his wives because of this Brahma Vimohan Leela pastime. So then Lord Brahma, when he came to return, he saw all the calves, all the cowherd boys are still there. Who are these? And then Brahma looked upon, and all these calves and boys, they immediately appeared to have complexions the color of bluish rain cloud, Megha Shama, dressed in silken garments, just like Krishna. And then Krishna revealed that all of these cowherd boys and calves are me, who is expanded. And then he showed the kaustubh gem around their necks. They were marked 3 lines of a conch shell. The bracelets were there on the wrists and bangles on their ankles. And from the top of their heads to the tip of their feet, they were fully decorated with garlands. They were pure, they were smiling. Then Brahma could understand the potency of who is Krishna. And he started worshipping Krishna. Then text 56 says, then by the power of the effulgence of those Vishnu Murtis, Lord Brahma, his 11 senses, they were jostled by astonishment. They were stunned by transcendental bliss. He became silent, just like a child's clay doll in the presence of a village deity. He was just silent. And then after some time, Lord Brahma's external consciousness then revived. He stood up as if a dead man came back to life, and opening his eyes with great difficulty, he saw the universe along with himself. Then he had a special darshan of Vrajadham, of Vrindavan. Before him, Vrindavan was full of trees, and the livelihood of the inhabitants, they were very pleasing. Actual Vrindavan, it has no hunger, no thirst, no anger. Though naturally inimical, both human beings and fierce animals live there together in transcendental friendship. So then Brahma, he touched the lotus feet of Krishna. He was rising and falling again, rising and falling again at the lotus feet of Krishna. Lord Brahma remembered the greatness of the Lord, and he humbly began with faltering words. Words were not coming out of his mouth, but he was trying his best to pray to Krishna. If we hear this pastime, it is said the falastuti is that it frees us from the cultivation of karma and jnana, frees us from the offense of considering the madhurya higher than Aishwarya. Aishwarya higher than madhurya. That offense is removed. So then Brahma began to offer the prayers to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus ends chapter 13. Something to note, very important. Srila Prabhupada, he could write purports only till chapter 13 of this 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. From chapter 14, the purports were written by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, based on Srila Sanatan Goswami's Tika and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purports. So we will see that from chapter 14, which is Brahma's prayers to Lord Krishna. For Krishna's satisfaction, Brahma first praised the beauty of the Lord's transcendental limbs. Your limbs are so beautiful. And then he started declaring how the original identity of sweetness is even more difficult than his opulence. To understand the opulence, the Aishwarya of Krishna is difficult. But more difficult is to understand the Madhurya Bhav, but only by devotional service of hearing and chanting. The transcendental sounds from the Vedic authorities can one understand. Text 7 says, in time, learned philosophers or scientists might be able to count all the atoms of the earth, the particles of snow, or perhaps even the shining molecules radiating from the sun, the stars and other luminaries. But among these learned men, Who could possibly count the unlimited transcendental qualities possessed by you? So it's saying the scientists may be able to count the atoms, and that's what's happening today. In fact, one of the Sankarshan Muni, he had counted the exact number of atoms in the entire universe. And scientists are still trying to count, but still they cannot understand the transcendental qualities of the Lord. He said, "My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits, tate nukampa susamikshamano bhunjana evatmakritam vipakam ritvakvapurbhir vidadhan namaste jivet yo muktipade sadaya bhak." That one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances within his heart with words and his body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. This is a Srila Prabhupada said that this verse should be the guiding principle in a devotee's life. How to undergo patiently suffering and still be grateful. Not grateful for the good things, but also grateful for the bad things that happen in our life. If we are able to say, in suffering, if we are able to say, "Thank you, Kṛṣṇa. Thank you, I'm grateful that you did not leave me. You are still with me. I know you still love me." With my heart words, we don't complain. We actually say thank you to Kṛṣṇa. I deserve much worse, but you are giving me just a token for my own purification. Jiveta yo mukti pade sadai. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was reading this verse, he says, this verse is so wonderful. Only one thing, why did Brahma say, Jiveta yo mukti pade sadai bhak? I don't like the word mukti. It should be Jiveta yo bhakti pade sadai bhak. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was the biggest, greatest Mayavadi at that time. His purpose was mukti. But after he was transformed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just seeing the word mukti in the scripture, he would get agitated. He said, this should be bhakti pade. A devotee who is living like this, always grateful, is so pleasing to Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa will give his bhakti. I'm going to change this and change it to bhakti. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, please don't do this. We should not change the scripture. Here it says Mukti Pade, but it means Bhakti Pade. So don't worry about it. So then, later, first he glorifies Kṛṣṇa. Then now he's telling his fallen position. To test your power, I tried to extend my illusory potency to cover you. You are the unlimited primeval super soul, and I tried to test you. Who am I as compared to you? I'm just like a small spark in presence of this great fire. Therefore, please excuse me, excuse my offenses. I have taken birth in the mode of passion, and therefore I'm simply foolish. I'm presuming that I am the controller. I'm independent, but actually my eyes are blinded with darkness of ignorance. It's causing me to think of myself as the unborn creator of the universe. But please consider that I am your servant and therefore worthy of your compassion. This verse should be what we should keep chanting when we this verse should be the mood that we must have when we are chanting. That I am a fool, please, but you are great. If we just keep thinking, oh, I'm so bad, I'm offensive, I'm sinful, I'm a fool, and we just end there, That's depression. But then, after understanding that and accepting that, if we approach Krishna, but Krishna, you are Patita Pavan, I'm helplessly just dependent on your mercy, mercy that I don't deserve. But please consider me as your servant and worthy of your compassion. Excuse my offenses, please. If we beg like this, Niyata Charanasthane Mage Pamara Kandiya Kandiya Mage Pamar Kandiya Kandiya Koroho Koruna Dana Gopinath 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 Gopinath. Please, on your lotus feet, Tomara Charanasthani. Mage Pamar, I beg you, this fallen soul begs. Kandiya Kandiya cries and begs. Koroho Karuna Dana, please give me your compassion. This is the mood of Lord Brahma. This should be our mood when we chant the holy names of the Lord. So then he says, "Oh Lord, does a mother take offense when the child within her womb kicks her with his legs? It's painful, but the mother is happy. Oh, he kicked. Something happened. The child is alive. The child is reciprocating. So please, I'm like inside your abdomen. Everything is inside your abdomen. Please forgive me for this offense. I'm born from you. I'm your child." And in this way, Brahma repeatedly condemned his own actions and recognized that Lord Krishna, he's the ultimate shelter of the universe. He's my father. He's the original Narayan. And he begged for Lord's forgiveness. This should be our mood during chanting, which is very, very important. Very, very. These prayers, when we read the prayers of Brahma, he committed a mistake. He did a mistake actually, an offense. But Krishna didn't reject him. Krishna never rejects anyone. Krishna loves us unconditionally. That should be our faith. However fallen we may be, and we are fallen, and we must accept it. But whenever we are in this despondency, let's remember Brahma, how he humbly submitted himself, and Krishna was pleased because of this. And then he started analyzing the great fortune of the residents of Vraja. These Vrajvasis, they are so fortunate. I pray that I should be born even as a blade of grass, a bush, or a creeper. Just like Uddhava, Brahma also prayed the same thing. Indeed, the homes of the residents of Vrindavan are not prisons of material existence, but abodes which are envied by jnanis and yogis. On the other hand, any home without a connection with Krishna is actually a prison cell of material existence. And then finally, Brahma offered himself at the lotus feet of the Lord, praising him again and again. He circumambulated him and left. Then Lord Krishna, he gathered all his animals that Brahma had stolen, all the cowherd boys, and led them to the same place in the banks of Yamuna where the cowherd boys were sitting and the calves were coming. And the cowherd boys, they thought, oh, yeah, remember in the previous chapter, Krishna had gone. Krishna had said, wait for me, I'll come back with the calves. Look, he's coming back with the calves. 1 year had passed, but they didn't realize that. This is the reason when Krishna arrived, they said, oh, you have arrived? It's so quickly? Wow. Anyway, as long as you were gone, we couldn't even eat a little bit of food. And we are glad that you came back again. So Krishna was laughing heartily at this innocence of the Brajvasis, this simplicity won his heart. And so they went back to Gokul and said, you know what? Krishna just killed a terrible snake, even though he had killed 1 year ago. But then later, uh, Parikshit Maharaj, he asked these questions about why did all the cowherd women and men and the cows feel so much affection for their children during that 1 year? And Shukadev Goswami said, because Krishna is the love of every soul. Every soul is actually in love with Krishna. And therefore we are helplessly attracted. That love manifests itself in so many different forms. In form of love for our child, love for our family, love for our movie idols, or love for we become fan of dancers and singers. Actually, that is a perverted reflection of our love for Krishna, real love for Krishna. And in this way, he says one very important verse: Dehopi mamata bhakchet tarhi asau natmavat priyah yajjiryatyapi dehesmin jivitasha baliyasi. If a person comes to the stage of considering the body as mine instead of me, he will certainly not consider the body as dear as his own self. After all, even as the body is growing old and useless, one's desire to continue living remains strong. This is a proof of Krishna. This is a proof of soul. He's saying one who should think the body is mine, not that I am the body. And why? Because even if the body goes old, we don't feel like we are getting old. We don't feel like we have to die. That's why is that happening? Because we are the soul. Samashritaye padapallavaplavam mahat padam punya yasho murare bhavam budhirvatsa padam param padam padam yat vipadam natesham. Shukadev Goswami explains to Maharaj Parikshit, for those who have accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of cosmic manifestation and is famous as Murari, the enemy of Mura demon. The ocean of the material world is like water contained in the calf's hoofprint. Their goal is Param Padam, Vaikuntha, the place where there are no material miseries, not the place where is danger at every step. So Shukadev Goswami then concludes this chapter how gopis love Lord Krishna even more than their own loved ones. Then we go to chapter 15, the killing of Dhenuka, the ass demon. So, one time after the Poganda phase of the pastimes, Krishna was more than 5 years old. Poganda was completed. Krishna and Balaram, Rama and Krishna, one day they were bringing the cows to pasture, and they entered an attractive forest decorated with a clear lake. And they began to play forest sports along with their friends. And so Baladev, he pretended, I'm so tired. And he went and he laid his head upon the lap of a cowherd boy and rested. And Krishna came and Krishna started massaging his feet. And then after some time, Krishna said, Oh, I'm massaging. I'm also tired. And he also placed his head on another cowherd's lap, boy's lap. And then another cowherd boy came and massaged his feet. And in this way, Krishna and Balaram, their cowherd friends, they started enjoying such sweet, wonderful pastimes. And then the verse 8 says, धन्येयमद्य धरणी तृणविरुधस्त्वत् पादस्पृशो द्रुमलता करजाभिंश्रिता Nadyodraya Khagamriga Sadayavalokai Gopyontarena Bhujayor Apiyat Spriha Shri. This earth has now become most fortunate because you have touched her grass and bushes with your feet, and her trees and creepers with your fingernails, and because you have graced her rivers, mountains, birds, and animals with your merciful glances. But above all, you have embraced the young cowherd woman between your two arms, a favor hankered after by even the goddess of fortune herself. This is the glorification of Vrindavan Dham. When we were going for Brajamandal Parikrama, we were made to realize Krishna actually walked here. The dust of Vrindavan was all over Krishna's body, Krishna and Balaram's body. Each, they touched the bushes and they touched all of these things. When we go to Vraja, to Vrindavan Dham, we should meditate on all of these things. Sometimes they would cry out of imitation of birds. And sometimes Krishna would run away with smaller animals in mock fear of lions and tigers. He would take the smaller animals, run away. And then one time, during this play, Sridama, Subala, Stoka Krishna, all these cowherd boys, they started describing to Balaram and Krishna about a wicked demon named Dhenukasura, who had assumed the form of a jackass, and he was living in the Talavan forest near Govardhan Hill. This forest, it was full of many, many varieties of sweet fruits. But because of this demon, no one dared to try to relish the taste of those fruits. And so someone had to kill this demon and the associates. So Lord Ram and Krishna, they heard of the situation and they set off. Let's go to this forest of Talavan and kill these demons. Now, if you see, on all other pastimes, the demons came to Krishna. But in this pastime, Krishna and Balaram went to the demon to deliver them. So when they arrived at Talaman, Lord Balaram, he shook the palm trees. And as soon as he did that, all the tal fruits started coming down. So this jackass demon, this Dhenukasura, he came to swiftly attack him. And then text 30 says, the powerful demon rushed up to Lord Baladev and sharply struck the Lord's chest with the hooves of his hind legs. And Dhenuka began to run, braying loudly. And then he moved towards Lord Balaram. He situated himself with his back towards the Lord, just like the asses, they want to hit with the hind leg. So he came in front of Lord Balaram to hit him. But as soon as he came and he was about to hurl the hind legs, Lord Balaram seized both the legs and he whirled him around and threw him on top of a palm tree, of this tal tree. And then because of the whirling around motion, the demon, his life air passed away and he died. And his dead body was thrown on the tal tree. Lord Balaram, he actually threw the dead body to the tallest palm tree in the forest. And when the demon landed on the treetop, the tree was shaking and all of the fruits, they started falling. And then because of that, this tree, it started shaking from its roots and it fell on another tree. And that tree fell to another tree. That tree fell, another tree fell, another tree. And this way, there was a whole lot of trees all around started falling. And then all of these friends of the ass demons, they started coming and they started attacking Balaram. And then Balaram again grabbed all of their legs and started one by one. Krishna and Balaram both took and started whirling them, killing them. And in the way came all the tal tree fruits came down. And then they started enjoying all the tal fruits. And then Krishna and Balaram returned to their cowherd community, and Yashodama, Rohini placed them on their laps. and kissed their faces, fed them nicely, all this finely prepared food. So, who is this Dhenukasura? It's very essential. Why did the Lord come to give him mercy? And why did Kṛṣṇa not kill him? It was Balaram who killed him. In fact, Dhenukasura, he is compared to the anartha of the ignorance of the knowledge of the soul. One who does not know that I am the soul and I'm not this body. He is foolish like a jackass. That's the mentality. And Kṛṣṇa comes to deliver that knowledge. Balaram, Guru, gives this knowledge of the soul to the devotees. That's why Baladev came. In fact, this Dhenuka was son of Bali Maharaj, Sahasik. The sister of Bali Maharaj was Ratnamala, which was Putana. The son of Bali Maharaj was Sahasik. And this Sahasik, he one time offended Durvasa Muni when Durvasa Muni was in meditation. He came to Gandhamadhan mountain and started making huge noises while enjoying with women, 10,000 women. And so Durvasa Muni was very much disturbed. He cursed him. You are such a fool, like an ass-like person, become a jackass, become an ass. And then he started begging forgiveness. Please forgive me. I shouldn't have done this. He said, okay, after 400,000 years, you will attain liberation from Balaram. And so now we are wondering, why Balaram? Because Durvasa Muni knew that Kṛṣṇa, as Lord Nrsingadev, had promised that he will not kill any of, he will protect all the descendants of Prahlad Maharaj. And this Sahasik, the son of Bali Maharaj, was the great grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. So Kṛṣṇa couldn't kill him. But Balaram had not given any such promise. But Balaram liberated him. And so, therefore, Baladev came and killed Dhenukasura. After this, some days later, Lord Kṛṣṇa, he went with his friends, but without Balaram. But this time he went with his friends to the banks of the Kalindi river just to tend the cows. The cows and cowherd boys, they became very thirsty, and they came and they drank the water of Yamuna. But then this water was contaminated with poison. They all fell unconscious into the river bank. But then Kṛṣṇa quickly brought them back to life just by his glance. He brought them back to life. Just by his glance, he impregnates the living entities into the Pradhan. Similarly, he brought them back to life. All of them, they regained their consciousness and they appreciated this great mercy of Kṛṣṇa. Why was this water poisoned? We'll come to know tomorrow. Please stay tuned. Don't miss that session. Kalasudha will explain why this water was poisoned and how this backstory behind it. With this, we will end today. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Okay, so today's quiz for session 57. First, what is the spiritual competition? Nature of spiritual competition. Second, who was the brother and sister of Aghasura? Third, how young was Kṛṣṇa when Kṛṣṇa killed Aghasura? What anartha does Aghasura represent in our hearts? Why were all the cows, the senior gopis and gopas so attracted to their children during the 1 year? Sixth, what should be our mood when we chant the holy names in regards to Lord Brahma's prayers? Seventh, which demon was killed at Thalavan? Eighth, what anartha does the ass demon represent in our hearts? And ninth, why did Lord Brahma, Balaram, kill the ass demon? All right, I hope that we can get some quiz. There are questions. Keshavi Mataji, question Prabhuji. Can living entities on earth be problematic to demigods? As you mentioned that Aghasura caused problems to demigods. Yes. I mean, even Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, all of these, they caused problems to the demigods. Even Prithu Maharaj, he was performing 100 yagyas, and Indra was so by the mercy of the Lord. Yes, sometimes demons have potency to even. That's why the demigods and demons were fighting, and sometimes the demons won the demigods over the demigods. So yes, this is true. Um, then again, Keshavi Mataji. How come the pastime of Madhumangala and Krishna interaction not mentioned in Bhagavatam? Bhagavatam does not have all pastimes of Krishna? Please explain. Yes, Bhagavatam does not have all the pastimes of Krishna. It has the pastimes which Shukadev Goswami felt it important for Maharaj Parikshit to know. He had 7 days to live. He could go on and on and on and tell all the pastimes of Krishna. But Shukadev Goswami felt that based on this 7 day limitation, whatever is the most essential, which will take him back home, back to Godhead, he told all those pastimes. And then there are other pastimes which are revealed to different acharyas, revealed in different Puranas, Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Padma Purana, like that. All right, I hope that answers it. Then third question. After Brahma Vimohan Leela, the returned Gopas accepted the gopis as wife. Don't they remember they did not get married? Little confused, Prabhu. Please explain. Yeah, somehow Krishna put them into illusion that they would not ask question. They were told, so you married. Really, I got married, and Krishna put the Yogamaya, said, oh yeah, I got married. This is my wife. Okay, yeah. Well, how could I forget it? Like that. So Krishna has his ways of transferring memories and removing memories, putting in Yogamaya, putting in Mahamaya, like that. Okay, next question. Swati Mataji. Why only Aghasura got Swarupya Mukti and not other demons killed by Krishna? Um, Different demons, that's a good question. One answer is it's Krishna's desire that he is that he was Aghasura, and but even Putana, she got the position of the nurse. So they get one of these muktis: Sayujya, Samipya, Sarupya, Salokya, Sarishti. But they don't get Vimukti. They don't get like pure love of God in that sense, Madhurya Ras and things of that sort. But yeah, these demons are not ordinary. So in that sense, it said that Dantavakra also got Sarupya Mukti. Putana got the position of the nurse in the spiritual world, because so depending on their background and their desire, because especially for Putana, especially for Aghasura, it is said that Krishna went inside his mouth. Krishna touched him, and therefore he got purified. This is Prabhupada explains in one of the purports. For Putana also was touched by Krishna, and he purified her, took all the bad things away from her, and therefore she was purified. So those who he is purifying, because of their background, because of how they became the demons and their backstory, Krishna knows all of our previous pastimes and our intentions. But we may not understand that. So because of that, some get Sarupya Mukti, most of them get Sayujya Mukti. So I hope that answers your question. If there are no more questions, we can end here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.